presentation and have this to bookmark and use in the future, this is the bit.ly link that you can use to find this slide deck and use it going forward. So today we're going to talk about quite a few different types of tips and tricks. We're going to talk about some navigation tips and tricks, a lot of extensions, because extensions are really what run a Chromebook browser. You know, Chromebooks run on the Chrome browser, and extensions are what can really up our game as far as using them to their fullest potential. And then there's some accessibility tools, which are really powerful. And then, of course, we have to talk a little bit about troubleshooting, you guys. We can't go through without at least going through a few of those things. So let's go. Let's get started. All right. So what are Deb's favorite Chromebook tips and tricks? Well, I've got quite a few to share with you today. We're going to start out with browser tabs. So we're going to go look at this. Browser tabs, as you know, are the tabs that sit at the top of your browser. And when you think about browser tabs, there's a couple things that you want to make sure you understand how to use fully, as well as let your students know how to do this. And one of them is bookmarking. So bookmarks, if you look at my actual browser, where my cursor is up here, I have these folder bookmarks. See how my bookmarks are all organized in folders? I don't like to have bookmarks that run on and on and on forever, and I'm unorganized and I can't find the bookmarks when I bookmark them. So what I do is I create folders, and to create a folder, you just right-click anywhere other than on one of your bookmarks. So I just did a right-click right here, and then you can see there's add folders. So then you can add a new folder. You can name it whatever you'd like. I have plenty of folders. I even have folders in folders, you guys. I've got a lot of them. And then anytime I bookmark a site, I put it in a folder instead of letting it just sit out somewhere on its own. Now, bookmarking a site is as simple as clicking the little star at the end of the URL. So if I wanted to bookmark this presentation right now, I could go to Add Bookmark. And from there, I could choose the folder I want to put this in. And since this webinar is for Simple K-12, I'm just going to put it right in the Simple K-12 folder and say Done. And now every time I come to Simple K-12 to that folder, that bookmark will be sitting there, and I can open up this presentation whenever I want. So it makes it really easy to stay organized by using the folders. Now, the other thing to know is when I click that star, did you notice there's also an add to reading list? Are you guys familiar with the reading list in Chromebook, in Chrome? If you're not, on a Chromebook, when using the Google Chrome browser, adding to a reading list takes whatever site you're on and adds it to your reading list that's right over here. I'm going to move this bar down here so you can see. Here's my reading list. Did you know you could do this? This is awesome for your students, especially if they're doing some kind of research, or if you want them to be able to get back to tabs easily. They can add tabs to the reading list. They sit right here. These are my unread, so I haven't opened them. I've just saved them. Here's pages that I have saved and I've clicked and read them, because once you click on it and open it up, it moves that then down to the pages you've read. Now, you can also just click the X to make it, mark as read if you want. And you can also click this X to delete something from your reading list. So you just have to think about how you want to do that. If I want to move that back up to say, I want that to be unread, I want to come back to it, I can always check the little checkbox and bring it back. That reading list is so helpful, you guys. If you have not shown your students or your other teachers you work with how to use the reading list, point it out to them. A lot of people don't even know that that's there for a Chromebook. And then grouping tabs is somewhat new. It's been around for a little while, but somewhat new. So what I'm going to do, I have some tabs over here that I've pinned, and I'm going to unpin them just to show this to you. If you have several tabs like this and you want to kind of group them so that you don't have, 100 tabs open across the top and you don't know where anything is, and you want to kind of put things in groups, right click on any tab, go to the Add Tab to New Group. You can then name the group. I'll just call this one SK12. Since it's for Simple K-12. You can even color this group so that it kind of stands out. I'll use their kind of pretty blue. And now this is something we'll be using in a minute. This is part of a group for Simple K-12. And then if I go to my next tab, right click, add to group, I can see my groups there. I can now add this tab to the group. So I have several tabs. I can even add my presentation to that group. So I could say add to group, Simple K-12. So now I've got 3 tabs in a group, and what's really nice is if I click on the title of that group, it will then collapse those into just a simple little kind of bookmark. And then if I click to open them, then they're all three open up. This makes it much more organized to have a lot of tabs opened at the top, but stay organized. So grouping tabs is a great tip to show your students. All right, we exit out and then we say, oh, shoot, I should have kept that open. I need that. And how do I get it back? Where is it? Do I have to go back and reopen it? Do I have to go through my history? No, there's two really quick ways to reopen a tab. One is a shortcut. On a Chromebook, you can just click Shift Control T, T for tab, Shift Control T. And if you were on a Mac, it would be Command, but because we're talking about Chromebooks, it's Control, right? Now, a lot of students forget that and they don't remember. So I teach them an even quicker way, and that is to just right click to the right of your tabs and do reopen close tab. So if you right click, you'll see reopen close tab. It'll then reopen the tab that you just closed by mistake. So this is my preference for a lot of people because they'll remember the right click versus the shortcut. Next, we're going to talk about splitting tabs, something that many students need to be able to do on a Chromebook, especially if they're doing work that needs to be side by side and they get frustrated not be able to have, having to go from one tab to the next and one tab to the next, but not be able to see them both at the same time. So for this one, I recommend a quick little extension called Dual S, and it works like a charm. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to go over here to just one of my tabs. I'll choose this one, this text blaze, and you'll learn more about that in a minute. And then I'm going to go to my extensions, a little puzzle piece, and I'm looking for the one that's called Dual S, and I just got this off the Chrome Web Store. When you click it, it gives you options. How do you want to split? It even gives you sizing. Like, do you want a 3:7 ratio, 4:6? Do you want them just even, 5:5? How do you want to split them? In this case, I'll just do an even split. And so it's going to take the tab I'm on right now and split it with my other tabs. So when I do this, I now have a very quick side by side. I have this page that I was looking at, and I have my other tabs right next to it. And if I want to bring it back, I just go to my puzzle piece. I go back down to the Dual S, and if I want to put them back together, I just choose the bottom option, number 1, and now everything's back together the way it should be. So that's what I recommend for splitting tabs, and I think it's one of the nicest ways to do a side-by-side view using the Chromebook in the Chrome browser. Open. You can search your open tabs. To do that in a Chromebook, right up in the top right corner is a little down arrow that will do a search tab. Did you guys know this exists? It will show you the tabs that you have opened. It'll show you recently closed tabs. That's another great way to open a tab that you may have closed by mistake. It's just to look down here. But you can search. So I know I only have about 5 tabs open, but if I had about 50 tabs, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to find what I'm looking for? I can actually search here. So I could search for like Simple K-12 and find the tab that's on and click on it. So it lets you actually search your open tabs. You guys, I'm telling you, you got to know these tips and tricks, and you have to share them with your friends. Okay, let's move on to extensions, which, like I said, they are the thing that often are the magic of a Chromebook to take it to the next level. So if there's one extension that you get today after this webinar, please let it be Extensity. Have you guys heard of Extensity before? I'm curious because I find that it's become much more popular over the last year. Just, I think, because of all the people in at-home learning and the need for this extension. And I've been using it for years and years, but the need for this really kind of exploded last year. So what is Extensity? Extensity is a way to very quickly and easily enable or disable your extensions. So it kind of runs your extensions. And extensions can often bog down the Chrome browser. If you get too many of them, the browser starts to run slowly, or some of your pages may not open really well on the web. So you want to be cautious and only have your extensions that you truly need opened at the time, and then disable them or turn them off when you don't need them. So here's Extensity right up here in my extensions. And what it does is it lets me quickly come through my list of extensions and see which ones, the bold ones, are enabled or turned on, and then which ones are not turned on. Those are the grayed out ones. And I can quickly come in here and say, okay, I don't need Dual S right now. I've used that one. I'm just going to click it, and now it's disabled. So it's not going to run unless I come back and turn it back on. But this is such an easy way to quickly say, I don't need Giphy right now. Okay, I don't need this, I don't need that. I can just turn the ones I don't need on and just disable them in one quick spot. So if you don't get any other extension, please get this one and control yourself with your extensions so your Chrome browser runs at its best on the Chromebook, right? Okay, the next extension I want to talk to is called Link to Text Fragment. This is awesome if a teacher wants to share a website with students, but they don't necessarily need them to see the entire website. They want them to focus in on one particular part of a website. Or if a student's sharing something on the web and you're like, I'm not sure that site is very long, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but they can use this extension to share the specific part that they're looking at. So here's how it works. I'm going to go here to the simple K-12. But anyway, let's say I wanted to share just this particular part of this website with some colleagues, right? What I can do, and I already have this extension from the Chrome Web Store. And I should mention, anything I share today, if you don't have it, I have a link. It says, click here to get the extensions. You can go there and add it if you don't have it, okay? But I already have it. So back to my blog, I can highlight part of a web page, right-click on it, and then I'm going to see copy link to selected text. And then it turns it kind of like a highlight, right? Yellow for a second. Now, if I share that link with anybody else, and I'm just going to paste the link in my browser to show you, what it will do is load that web page, but take you right to the part that's linked, and it'll be highlighted. So it's really nice that that link can take you to the specific part of the web page that you want to share. Immersive Reader. We all know Immersive Reader shows up in a lot of different places when you're using a Chromebook, but sometimes you need it and it's not there. Well, there is a wonderful extension just called the Immersive Reader extension that you can use. And again, if you want to get the extension, you can get it right here from the Chrome Web Store. But don't forget to add an extensity and only turn these on when you need them so your browser doesn't slow down. But the way this one works is if you're on any web page, you can highlight some text. You can right-click, and then you'll see the extensions running right here where it says, help me read this. And then what it will do is literally read this text to you in a really nice immersive reader way. So it brings the text nice and large. You have a play button. And you guys, you have all these settings. You can change the text size. You can change the actual text, the coloring. And it even has grammar options. So it's like, I need to see the nouns on this as you're reading it. Right? So it can even do parts of speech. It's wonderful. So there's even more features. I don't have time to go into the whole thing, but Immersive Reader for Chromebooks is something your students and you yourself will really appreciate the more you learn how to use it. Okay, moving on. Interactive Google Slides. On a Google slide presentation, and I'm just going to open up an example here. This is a Google slide presentation, a slide deck for magnetic poetry. And as we all know, we can edit this when we're in this view, right? So I can move these over and do this when I'm just in this edit view. But when I go to present, then everything is static. I can't move or edit anything or change anything in full screen view, right? When I'm in the present. Well, what this extension does is it lets you edit when you're in that present mode. What? Yep. And so you have to click here to get the Google Interactive Google Slides extension and add it. And then when you're on, let's see if I can find that page again, right here. When you're on here, you have to find that extension, and I'm going to go through my extensions and find it's right here, Full Screen Interactive Google Slides. When I click it, it goes full screen, but I can still edit and manipulate. It makes like click and drag in Google Slides much nicer for our students. There's more to cover and only so much time, but again, if you get any of these extensions, don't forget to get extensity. Turn them on and off so you only have them on when you need them. And then there's the magnifying glass. So I'm teaching up in front of my classroom, right? And I have this wonderful, interactive board, and I'm projecting from my Chromebook, but my students aren't following where I'm at. Well, I can get the magnifying glass to help them. The magnifying glass is a wonderful extension that I'm going to go and find if I can here. Here it is. And now that I have it, see how I can highlight the part I'm looking at? So these are Chromebook extensions. You can click right here to get this extension. We're talking about magnifying glasses, right? So it works within my browser, my Chromebook, and it helps you to focus the students in on where you're looking. And to turn it off, I just click. Anywhere I click when I have it open, I just click and it goes away. So it's very easy to use. There's no learning curve with that magnifying glass. So go get that one. You'll love it. The Mercury Reader simplifies any web page in a Chromebook in the Chrome browser. So we're going to try it on this page. So let's say I sent my students to this page and they're learning about bats, right? But for a lot of our students, this is hard to digest and understand. And sometimes there's ads or things going on that they don't know. So what they can do is use this, the right one here, Mercury Reader. There we go. And notice now how nice this reads, like a PDF, basically. It puts everything in a nice, scrollable, easy to digest text and image way. I really like Mercury Reader. You've got to, if you have students who struggle at all with digesting information on the internet, help them with this extension. And then you can just click here to get rid of it. So here's what it looked like beforehand. And I think the Mercury Reader did a really good job of fixing it to make it much easier. Okay, and I'm going to wrap up this webinar with 4 quick tips that everybody should know about using their trackpad on a Chromebook. And we want all of our staff and students to know these because, man, they just make life so much nicer and just take things to the next level on a Chromebook. So the first one is Hey Google. Most students know of a Google Assistant like Google Home or Siri on their phone or whatever it might be, Alexa, whatever. They know that there's these assistants. Well, the Chrome browser has a built-in Google Assistant. When you open a new tab, you will see the microphone here. When you click or search this, it is listening to you and it will respond to your request, right? So you have it built in. Your students naturally use this type of technology, so why not teach them that the Google Assistant is built into the Chrome browser? And you can even go here and click the microphone and say, hey, Google, tell me what the weather's like today. You know, is by using a 3-finger swipe up or down on a Chromebook trackpad, it will open all your windows. Now I only have one window open, so for me there are no windows, so you can see it's not really working on my Mac right now. But if you're in a Chromebook, try a 3-finger swipe and you'll see all the windows that are open at any time in your browser. And then there is the swipe side to side. If you do a 3-finger swipe movement on a trackpad, it will move you from tab to tab. And the last one is super helpful. A 3-finger click on any tab on a Chromebook will close that tab. So if I go up to this tab and I 3-finger click, it closes it out. messed up before, and I was thinking it was text plays, but it's Mercury Reader. So Mercury Reader simplifies any web page in a Chromebook in the Chrome browser. So we're going to try it on this page. So let's say I sent my students to this page and they're learning about bats, right? But for a lot of our students, this is hard to digest and understand, and sometimes there's ads or things going on that they don't know. So what they can do is use this extension called not text plays. Deb, I keep getting so confused. I don't know why I keep doing that. Sometimes my brain stops working about halfway through, right? All right, so let's see if we can find the right one here. Mercury Reader, there we go. And notice now how nice this reads, like a PDF, basically. It puts everything in a nice, scrollable, easy to digest text and image way. I really like Mercury Reader. You've got to, if you have students who struggle at all with digesting information on the internet, help them with this extension. And then you can just click here to get rid of it. So here's what it looked like beforehand. And I think the Mercury Reader did a really good job of fixing it to make it much easier. Okay, and I'm going to wrap up this webinar with 4 quick tips that everybody should know about using their trackpad on a Chromebook. And we want all of our staff and students to know these because, man, they just make life so much nicer and just take things to the next level on a Chromebook. So the first one is Hey Google. Most students know of a Google Assistant like Google Home or Siri on their phone or whatever it might be, Alexa, or whatever. They know that there's these assistants. Well, the Chrome browser has a built-in Google Assistant. When you open a new tab, you will see the microphone here. When you click or search this, it is listening to you and it will respond to your request, right? So you have it built in. Your students naturally use this type of technology, so why not teach them that the Google Assistant is built into the Chrome browser? And you can even go here and click the microphone and say, hey Google, tell me what the weather's like today, and it'll give you the information. Or you can click and say, hey Google, what movies are showing at the Fond du Lac Theater? And it will tell you. It's just like the Google Home. It's the same type of technology. The other thing you should know is by using a 3-finger swipe up or down on a Chromebook trackpad, it will open all your windows. Now I only have one window open, so for me there are no windows, so you can see it's not really working on my Mac right now. But if you're in a Chromebook, try a 3-finger swipe and you'll see all the windows that are open at any time in your browser. And then there is the swipe side to side. If you do a 3-finger swipe movement on a trackpad, it will move you from tab to tab. Did you guys know that? Oh my gosh. Well, if you didn't, I just taught you a saving tip that will just become your new best friend. So swiping 3 fingers side to side. And the last one is super helpful. A 3-finger click on any tab on a Chromebook will close that tab. So if I go up to this tab and I 3-finger click, it closes it out. Hey, we made it through all my tips and tricks. Thank you, Simple K-12, for